see now. Okay, parties for the middle-aged child. Let's see, parties for the middle-aged child. What's there? Oh, sorry. I found this today when I was looking at things. Planning parties for young people. Now look at those young people. Don't they look like they're happy running around chairs and with records on, playing a game that no kid probably plays anymore? Welcome to Two Dogs Digs. Time for another hall pass. And today it is more of our bought and forgot. Yeah, we got a lot. So this is our bought and forgot show, part 2. Reselling paper goods. There we go. I have to get that bigger because I was small. Reselling paper goods. So today we're going to talk about things. I'm going to look at, I can't lift it up. It's one of those big file boxes. And on the side of the file box, there is a thing that says paper. So, I don't know about you guys, but I love buying paper. We do this. I grab it at estate sales. Usually the only places you can find it are like estate sales and flea markets where there's people trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff. So I love grabbing stuff like that. And then I think because it's flat, I throw it in boxes and I never look at it again. Now, it can be books, it can be comics, it could be like actual party planning, things like this. And most of the time when I'm grabbing these kind of things, I don't have a clue about them. I'm not looking them up. I am not researching them anyway, because they're usually really, really cheap. I wouldn't pay more than like 10 cents for books or things like that. I get piles of paper for $5, somebody's entire like desk drawer I dump out and things like that. So that's one of the things that we've done. Now, in the past I've done paper before, and we've done things like stationery and notepads and things like that. And we've got great money for some of the things. So today I'm hoping when I dig into this thing of flats, I'm going to find some stuff that's got a little bit of money in it. As I say, I'm hoping. I don't know. A big welcome to everybody who's joined us here. Rick is not joining us tonight. He's actually working. I just went blurry. Rick is at. Ooh, why did I go blurry? There, bring it back. Why am I go? Hoping not too blurry. Looks like I'm blurry though, doesn't it? There we go. Back and forth. I don't know how the heck I do that. Yes, beware of mice and paper. Yes, and mice poop. And yeah, chew marks and things like that. So we'll be looking at like that stuff. Holly says, I've done well with vintage menus. Yes, vintage menus can be really good. Susan's like, it's easy to store and easy to ship. Yeah, that's part of the problem, is it's easy to store. And that's why you get boxes of it. I think I have 4 boxes at least of these things. Sherry says, I have 2 huge boxes of Life and Look magazines, and they got wet and rotted. Well, those go in the garbage. And then there's also people who, like Lisa, who have cases and cases of ephemera. And there's a lot of people who actually, Dawn, I'm not sure if she's here, who cut the pages and sell some of the pages. And postcards, yeah, anything papery. That's what I'm going to be following. Barbie magazine. So a big hi to everybody who is joining us today for our Flat is Where It's At. So hi to Tina, Janet, Susan, Lisa, Michael, Jennifer, Carl, Susan, Marianne, Charmaine, and Brian, I'm sure. Kathy, Mr. Joel, Heather and Bob, Diana, Greg. Greg just bought a whole bunch of stuff. A couple, 3, I think, storage lockers full of books. So that's ephemera. And he got a giant cash register. If you haven't seen the post, go and look in the craft group. He got this amazing, like, vintage cash register, but it's huge and heavy as hell. I don't know how the hell he's going to sell something like that. Luette, Lisa, Elisa, Sherry, Andrew, as I said, hi, like before, Julie. So Brian's working overtime in the rain. Sherry has music books too, totes of music books you bought for $10. Well, yeah, and I actually did yesterday and the day before. We tried something different. We actually had bought at a neighborhood sale. It was like a garage sale about 3 years ago, I think. A 3 or 4 boxes, office boxes. And by office boxes, I mean like things that are like at least this big, but the cardboard kind, that were filled with crochet patterns. So what we ended up doing was we actually put a bunch of those crochet patterns onto Etsy. We sold, and I got the whole, like there were 4 or 5 boxes at this person's place, and I bought all 5 boxes, 4 or 5 boxes for $30, and we sold just the individual patterns themselves. We sold probably $200 in the pattern. So the box was downstairs though, and we found it a couple of days ago. So I decided the agenda is paper and flats, and figuring out if I bought anything worthwhile. And so we went through this, and yesterday and the day before, we did a little whatnot show. We thought we'd try a whatnot show with like patterns, and we didn't sell anything. We stayed on for like 20 minutes, and the only people who visited us were Heather and Donna, and people who popped in and popped out. So we're putting it on again because it's easy to go and do something like that. But when we went through it, actually, we're not doing it again. We decided afterwards, you know what, we're not doing it. So we bagged up a bunch of stuff, and we spent a half an hour researching, and found I've got some stuff that could easily sell for $5 and $6 each. So I'm going to pair them and triple them up and quadruple them into lots of some designer for crochet stuff, some Christmas stuff and things like that. Surprised me. I thought it was the cheap stuff. And so I'll probably still get $100. And the rest of the stuff we're just bagging and putting into Max Sold. So we're getting rid of it that way. That's another good one. Magazine showing home building plans. Yes, we've actually sold before we found and sold the plan, like the plans for places in the 50s and 60s, mid-century modern homes that were like, this is the real estate brochures and things along those lines. Ephemera is paper things you throw away, like yeah, we've even sold receipts. We've sold old receipts, Rolling Stone magazines. Yeah, there's so much there. Etsy, I think Etsy might be best for the crochet and embroidery books, but surprisingly, I'll just do a little quick thing over here for you, and I'll just look up, see if I can find it, crochet books on eBay. And there's 68,000 crochet books on eBay right now, and in them, solds, there's 6,300. This is just the past 90 days. And I actually was looking up Leisure Arts. That's the ones I picked up. I had some Leisure Arts crochet books, and I found these. And some of these books, this is actually sold prices. Some of these books were going for like, here, it's like $22 for a batch. So I'm batching them up. That's what I decided to do. I'm going to batch up books like that and put them together and see if I can make some money that way. So I like the Sears Home in a Box ads. Those are really neat. Diane, I have a ton of carpentry patterns to the 60s that belong to, and you're procrastinating. Well, that's the one thing. I mean, there's an easy side and a hard side to selling paper. So, a couple of things. One, it's a collectible. So, you really have to find the people who are looking for that specific thing. Now, postcards, for example, Popeye's Postcards, which you can follow on YouTube. He has an eBay store. He does whatnot shows all the time. Sells tens of thousands of postcards every week, like ridiculous amounts of postcards. So people know that they're looking for him. But if you happen to be trying to sell something like this, which is something else I just found, I don't know how much of a big market there's going to be for this. This happens to be, I found this. This is the box down here. I'm going to see if I can show you what's in the box. Let me see what's in the box. Come on, let me see if I can get the box. Come on, here's close, picture. Here we go. So this is, let me just get this box up here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the box I'm going through today. So this specific box, I'm literally going to be popping through today. So this is just one of those big boxes, and it is filled with literally, I don't even know what is in the box. Like, I swear, I've got books, it looks like it's in there. I've got paper. I've got the Maha Bodhi. I don't know what that is. I've got barbershop museums. I've got book covers. I got all sorts of stuff in this one box. So that's what we're going to look at today to sort of go, okay, here's a bunch of stuff that is what I'm considering sort of in the flats or paper world. But again, it's In some cases, it may not be an actual book. It may very well be. Oh, where did it go? There you are. Oh, I lost the page as I closed it out there. It may be something else. That should be over there. Oh, you were all over there. I moved you all to the wrong place. Here we go. Tricky. Yes. Gay Men's Magazine sells quite well. Hello, Don. You have arrived. A show about You're So Behind. Old and used greeting cards are trending again. Yeah, that actually, we sell Christmas cards and Valentine's cards and things like that are really good. I didn't finish with, Rick is prepping for our Max Sold. So we're trying to prep for another Max Sold. So we're trying to get more and more stuff out of the way. So he's actually working on stuff today. So that cat behind you has a matching rat. It has a red base. I was trying to find something new to put up here. So yeah, this little guy. Little bell inside him. I have no idea why I bought him. Rick probably bought him. Rick buys cat stuff all the time. So let's take a look at some of the stuff. So this is what I was saying. I don't even know what this is. And you need to, as I say, one, easy to list generally, but hard in some cases to research. A lot of times people want to overcompensate with pictures, and that's Rick and I always have this fight because he wants to put pictures of every single page inside, and that's the thing we always have a little bit of a fight with, because I always say I want to sneak preview the things that are inside. I don't want to give somebody something they're just going to scan and go, oh, there they are. I don't need to see that anymore. So I like sneak previewing it, a few pages here and there. Especially if it's a book or something like that, I like to make sure that the book has the edition or publishing date. With most of the stuff, actually, we are actually taking pictures. We're not scanning. So we do have a huge scanner, but we usually take pictures. So one, I said it's easy to list, but it's not as easy to list. Can we have things both ways? Sure, why not? Take good pictures, but not too many pictures. It's hard to research, but some stuff's easy to research. But then I think the biggest key is a lot of the stuff that's unique. People have to be looking for it. So you can't necessarily expect that if you're going to put this up, this is going to fly out of there. So here's a perfect example. This is something I just took out of the box before. I have no idea. I didn't know anything about this. This is the Ved Mikam, Buddhist temple book containing the order of ceremonies for use in Buddhist temples. And this was published in 1929 in Hawaii. This is the 1929 fourth edition of it. And I thought, okay, it's got like a cloth thing, a little worn here and there. The inside of it's good, and somebody's actually thrown some notes in there, but I can't read. So that's okay. So I thought, I'm going to try and look this up. Well, I looked it up, and I had a lot of trouble trying to find it. I finally ended up having to find the closest thing I found to it was actually, in my research, was going into WorthPoint. And this is what I found in WorthPoint, which is literally that. And there's only one picture in there. And it sold for $39 3 years ago. I did try and look it up on eBay. See, there we go. Ved Mikam. But I actually had to add in Buddhist because otherwise I couldn't get anything showing up. Nothing in solds, but if I go to live listings, it did show me one that was almost identical to, oh no, now it's not even showing me that. Did I spell it right? Buddhist Ved Mikam. Yeah, so it's not even showing me anything there. So this is one of those things that's like, I could have an interesting group of people looking for it, but it's going to be hard for me to price. I will probably list this in the $20 range since one sold for $30. I did look these up, which I mentioned to you. This is actually not worth a lot of money. So this is a group of booklets for party planning. It's the Better Living. Now, I like some of the things. I just like getting these things just to read because years ago, this was so much fun. What purposes do parties serve? What are the adults' role in the child's responsibilities? But not only that, parents as teachers and partners, self-understanding, helping brothers and sisters. Oh, that's not going to work in Rick's family. Your child and the people around him. Let's listen to you. No. Emotional problems of growing up. Oh, I got to keep that one. Pennies in their pocket, helping children manage money. And when children face crises. Now, I looked these up, and unfortunately, they are quite common. They are, if I go back to the thing, it was the Better Living booklets. Yeah, I did see that on there. So Better Living booklets, and you can see people, it looks like they came at some point in a little binder, and it looked like there were a lot more of them, but people are selling them for $10. So I literally, what I'm doing with stuff like that today, because part of what I want to do is I want to make sure I'm clearing out things. And I'm clearing out things like this. So I've actually got a box that I put in here, which is going to be my donate box, because there's nothing really worthwhile trying to put this into a local Max Sold. We've tried a few of those and they just don't really do well. And then so it's just going to go and we'll either give it to a thrift store, or we might just put it in recycling. So something else there we go. Harley Davidson 2003 catalog. So I guess I bought this for 50 cents. And it is a birthday party it's a Harley Davidson 100 birthday party. So this is actually the 100th celebration. So again, this is the kind of stuff that I have no clue what this is going to be. So let's pop this in and go Harley 100th. And let me get this over here for you guys to see. Booklet. $4. Not worth anything. Now, because this is Harley Davidson, I think I'm going to hold on to that and try and sell that some other place, because it may have some extra value to it. Now, frame tray puzzles. Again, this is all stuff that's sitting in here that you could pick up. This was something that I did pick up actually at a thrift store, and some of them you can get good money for them. So you need to check if they're made by who they're made by. So this is Allen Publishers. Whitman, which is this one, can be really good. Now, depending upon the actual figures, these can be worth $5, $10 a piece, right? So this is okay. And Jack and Jill. There's another one. I'll probably toss these into a Max Sold. But this was in the same baggie. It's Gremlins. It's Stripe. It's in amazing shape. And yes, there's another Stripe. So this was, I think I could see Stripe on this one. So it's like, yay. And then my pet monster of a friend, my pet monster. A big, huge, absolutely huge woof. If you ever find a plush version of this thing, the My Pet Monster, you have made good money. Some of those plushes can sell for $300, $400, $500, and $600, depending on the condition of it. It's a monster. They are about 2.5 feet tall. They're big things. They have little, as you can see down here, they have little handcuffs that they burst out of. I thought, yay! Unfortunately, this is only worth about $9. So again, what I will probably end up doing, because of the fact that there's Stripe and My Pet Monster, I'm going to put, it's the only thing I hate about frame tray puzzles. No! If you hold frame tray puzzles incorrectly, they end up all over the floor. So I have to make sure I don't roll on top. And of course, it was My Pet Monster that fell on the floor. So I got to make sure that I get all those pieces later and I don't crush them, because they're going to go into a Max Sold. So let's see what else we got here. Funky. Fallible? I don't know. Take a look at this. This is wild. So this is my school world. This is a style pack. So we used to get these book covers. We used to buy book covers. That's how old I am. I'm not even sure there's a date on here. Let's see. 1934. This is not no 1934. It's just 4 plastic coated book covers, but I love, look at that. Look at the 4 book covers they've got in there. Look at the images that are on those. I don't even know what that says. Today, I don't know what the hell that says. Today and almonds or something. But so retro. Look at the hairstyle. So this will be something that I'll probably end up putting on Etsy. I'm not even going to bother looking this up, but that's a really interesting find as well. That's in that box. So yeah, I found something else. It's funny. You use grocery store brown bags as textbook covers. I actually found a bag filled with grocery store paper bags from the 70s and 80s that I must have picked up somewhere. I do not know. Julie made them out of paper bags too. Carl, old brain cells just lit up. I remember covering our textbooks in brown paper. So I actually have other ones of those that were made by Swatch as well, which I picked up and I've sold, and I found them, and I have to relist those. But I think again, those are neat and very, very retro oriented. Now, this is something, again, I don't know when I got this, and I actually made notes on this too. This is what's really strange, is I made notes and then it got thrown into this box. I have no idea what doll this is. It is Petra by Plasti. I don't know what Plasti is, from 1989, but oh my God, it is such a fabulous book of, this is Fred fashions. Look at those fabulous Fred fashions. And here's more of Petra's fashions. Now, the thing is, Petra says it's high quality and design. Now, the interesting thing is, I don't know. Look at, it's like such a knockoff of Barbie. Petra. And what's her sister's name? Jean's Fred. Jean's Peggy. And Jean's Petra. So I don't know where Petra was actually sold. It's the interesting thing, because I'm looking at this going, this is 25 years of Petra. Now, I don't have that one by Plasti, but I also have this one by Plasti. Now, here's the interesting thing. I wrote on here, Petra 1989. Now, this was actually what I was saying to Rick. This is the number times 4. I want a cover and 3 wide shots of it. So this is how I end up serving stuff up to Rick, so that he knows when I've got something. He goes, so I'm not going to show every single picture, but maybe that's part of the, look at that. That'll help sell in that gay magazine sort of thing. But it is such a Barbie knockoff, whatever this, it's, okay, there we go. Plasti is West Germany as a company. So I will have to look those two up. I don't know anything about Plasti. And oh, look, Rick just showed up. Gene I don't know where he is. I guess he's finished taking his picture. I think you're undervaluing the Hawaiian Buddhist book. It's territorial and a Hawaiian imprint, hard to price. You might start an auction at $99 and see what happens. I will take your advice, and I will do that. I will take that and try. Oh, he's taking a break from taking his photos. So everybody's talking to Rick. Hi, Rick. Hi, Rick. Hi, Rick. Get back to work. Okay, last week I told you, last week I showed you those, I haven't got around. Okay, so we've got the stuff halfway prepared from last week's show. So I've got draft listings already done for a bunch of the things. I have, we've got photos ready for a couple of them. Some of them I'm ready to launch, but I haven't got everything ready yet. But one of the ones that we were talking about last week was those plastic baggies that I had from Gerber. Look what I found here. A ton of plastic bags from Trix, Cocoa Puff Trix and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's got to be people who work for these companies that end up having these things, and then they've got to be, for some reason, at an estate sale. And so somehow I have this gigantic batch of these that I'm going to have to do. So again, I had to take your advice from last time and say, okay, I'm going to batch those together in like groups of 5 or something along those lines. It is good for, but I don't want to give away that kind of thing. Most of the kids I know wouldn't really care about that. Actually, that's a really good idea. From the X, maybe given out at the food building, or Tina probably handed out a swag at a food show. So whoever worked there brought all the ones back, cut them, and use them as poly mailers. That might be an interesting thing. If it's legal to sell those in Canada, well, not really, but I'm selling on US. Well, I guess because it's vintage. Maybe it's you're allowed to do it. Well, here's this is just interesting stuff that I don't. This is a lampshade. Why do I have a lampshade in a box of paper? Because this is what it is. A Prova Lighting mini paper lampshade, it looks like, made in Britain, range of colors. I don't know what color this one happens to be, but it tells you how to assemble this really, really funky lampshade. Take one of the plastic sheets and bend the outer, so it's plastic. So I have never seen anything again like that. I don't know why where I find these things. This is just it. I grab stuff like this. I don't think this is from IKEA. Now I'm going to look up Prova Lighting and see if there's anything for that. I doubt very highly that we will see. You know what? I'm going to carl this. Like let's do this the right way. Let's just carl this one because it's not the typical type of thing you would actually end up seeing anywhere. So I don't think it's something that, let's Google or carl it, as we say, and see if it comes up with anything in here. And it comes up with the Vintage Series 1 lamp from Banana Lab. Don't know who Banana Lab is, and I don't think I'm going to visit it right now. But that's the only links in here are Banana Lab, whoever Banana Lab is. We got some more research on the Banana Lab lamp shade. Who knows? Again, I don't even know what half this stuff is. I think, you know what? I think I must have gone to some place that had Buddhism books. This is another one. Look at this little one. 1948. Omani Padme, answer from the Buddhist Society of London. So, and I actually in this thing. Oh, that's not. What is that? This is maybe this. Are these Buddha books? Yeah, look at these Buddha books. More Buddha books. International Buddhist Monthly. There's that words again that I don't know anything about. Mahabodhi. Look at all these. I have all these books. So now I've got to do some Buddha research. I never knew I had to do before. Embraced by the Buddha. More embraced by the Buddha. Who knew about all these Buddha books that I had? And okay, what is this? This is some other completely weird looking thing. This is English Adventure, The Adventures of a Quarter. I don't think it actually means it's the adventures of an actual, like, literal quarter. I have no idea who Sansuke Kamai is. There are 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got like 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All of these. So again, it's another sort of weird little thing that I'd have to end up having to look up. So there's another Buddha thing. This is just, I don't even know what I'm getting in here. I don't know where I bought the stuff that's showing up in here. Look at this. Buddha, 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 Buddha. Looking back, looking forward. Easy essays and poems by Buddhist publication. I had no idea. So I've got some Buddha book batches that are going to go into here that I did not even have the slightest clue How many Buddha things did I buy? It's like ridiculous. Oh, there's another helping children develop moral values. Nah, the hell with that. Children don't need more. This is just a weird. This entire this tub. This whole tub. I'm gonna have to get another one for looking at. Look at this. The Voice of Buddhism. I don't remember buying any of these. This is what's so weird when you go into things like this. You find stuff that you're like, what did this? How did I get this? How did I buy this many of these? And then in the middle of all of it, what else do I have here? I have the National Parks of Japan. So I must have gone to some. Actually, sir, of course, this is from the Toronto Buddhist Library. I must have gone to a Buddhist garage sale. I do not know how I ended up getting a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here that it's like, well, this is interesting and this is interesting, but I wanted to try and show you some things that are different, but I don't even know what I got that's different in here. Oh my God, so much Buddha stuff. It's like, I'm not trying to be a Buddha judge, but there's a lot in here. This is something else that I found interesting. I love the actual covers on these. These are so freaking hard to figure out, though. We just actually sold a bunch of these. A bunch of Japanese 45s. The pictures of these things are just like the covers. Oh, that's Japanese. From some movie. From some other movie. Now, the challenge is when you Google image things like this, a lot of times it doesn't help you whatsoever. They look like, I don't know what's coming for them, but they don't look happy. A lot of times when you look for these, the challenge is you can't find anything. And there's literally nothing on the record that actually has anything in it that tells me who it's by. In this one case, I got a little lucky. I think I got a little lucky. This is Liu Yun. So at least I know who is potentially there as part of that. That's Liu Yun is one of the things that I've got on that. So I tried doing the Google Translate, and that doesn't necessarily help me with them. I had about 150 of these. We did sell a bunch of them actually on Max on Whatnot. We sold some, and then we've also sold a bunch on Whatnot. I think we've got rid of, or Max sold, vice versa. We sold them on both places. Didn't get a lot of money for them. I did identify a few of them that I hoped would be a little bit of money. I pulled them out and tried to list them for like $30 or $40. I think we sold one or two. I've tried. It's one of those things as well where you actually start going to how much time do I want to spend on something like this, especially when you get into looking at things that are like so much stuff. Like, I don't think I'm going to try and look up every one of those Buddhist books. I would be more apt to say I'm going to put them into a lot or 2 or 3 or 4 lots and then auction them off and see if I can get something for them. And again, if there's something in there that is like, oh my God, that's a really hard find. That's the thing that I think that a lot of people who are collectors will find and bid up. So we've done this before. That's the kind of thing that we talk about all the time. Yeah, you don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole because the goal is for me to get rid of this box, not for me to spend 3 or 4 more days on everything that's inside that box. So that's where it's going to be. I can only do so much when it comes to that. And the rest of the stuff, I'm looking at it and I'm just surprised at how much of it is from. I guess they were all from this one place. Like, again, this is just Pacific Friend Photos of Japan, and it's in pretty nice shape. But then you also have to watch when you're doing something like that is how long or how big this is going to be. And again, you don't want to have, in our case, this is how we work it. You guys can work everything the best way that you possibly can. we're trying to raise the overall prices for our items. So I would rather put lots on that are $25 than try and put 5 lots on that are 5. Because again, a lot of times you'll see things don't sell that well. So even with those books that I was talking about, the leisure art books, actually, I could put them on for $5 a piece, or I can put them into groups of 4 or 5 or 6 for $15. Underprice everybody else. I paid less than a nickel for them and hopefully get rid of them faster. List on the eBay Japan site. That's a possibility, but again, I'm going to do a little bit of research. I tried doing the research with the bigger albums that I had, and I literally was down a 5-hour rabbit hole, and I'd only gotten through 7 or 10 of the actual albums because so many of the people that they did all the covers look alike. All they're all wearing the same type of clothing. Everything was it just drove me crazy. Pardon me for yawning. Also, paper goods can be other things that can be fun too, like this. Look what I found here. It's a bridge set. It's a Miss Piggy. I love the card. I don't really care so much for the actual this part, but I love the cards. Where's it? Here. Lucky in cards, lucky in love. Now these are sealed inside there. This is starting to tear a little on the cello on the side. Now the thing is, this is Hallmark. It's from 1980. But this, surprisingly, this isn't necessarily that gigantic a buy. This is something I picked up, and I actually paid $3 for it at a flea market. And they had somebody's Miss Piggy collection. But what I think I might end up doing, I'm not sure if I'm going to sell this as a whole, because I think I've seen this for like $10. And it's not light either. It's a little heavy, because I might just pick the cards out. I may end up putting this into a max sold and just trying to make sure I get my $3 back. So that's part of the challenge when you're looking at stuff like that, to be able to flip it so that you can actually make some money. I'm going to take a break a little bit away from that just to talk about something else today, because I thought this was interesting. All you ever hear, a lot of times what you hear about the most is that you have a lot of people who are saying, oh, eBay doesn't help it. It doesn't help the buyer. It doesn't help the buyer. Well, I think I told you guys a few weeks ago about a situation where I sent a big package. It was a $200 item, a Harry Potter tree topper. And I sent this out and it disappeared into the ether, into the USPS world of who knows where it goes. And so it was $200, and I sent it July the 2nd. And around the end of July, the person rightfully said, I have not received. Can I have my money back? And so, well, I had to give them their money back. I didn't want to give them their money back, but I had to give them their money back. So I gave them their money back. And of course, 3 days later, it showed up in USPS moving again. So I actually contacted eBay. For some reason I was able to call them, get a call back, and I contacted them, and I launched a thing saying, this has been delivered. Now, what happens here? So they actually, I opened a case with them for an item that was delivered, and that I'd already refunded, because I had to refund it. And today, I actually ended up contacting them again, and I got the approval today, and I'm getting the money back. So the person got this for free. They actually, because they got their money back from me, they got this topper for free. But I don't care, because eBay is now giving me the $200 that I should have been given. So they're covering me. So as a seller, this is something you never ever hear people talking about. As a seller, eBay covered me. So I was really happy today, because it's a $200. And this month has been one of those up and down months. The weekend we had quite a few little things selling, but a week before that we didn't have much. And so it's been one of those things where it's been like a strange kind of August. We got Halloween stuff selling, actually. It's a couple of good Halloween things. So we'll talk about them as we get into what's sold in August next month. But it was all up and down. So it was nice to see that we were getting an extra $200 going to be coming to us. This, yes, it was very good on eBay for, um, yes, and then eBay would deny the claim. Well, yeah, or USPS would deny the claim. So again, that's what I just thought was nice about being able to see that they could do that for for us. So um, here's a couple of things. So I'm just looking at some other stuff that's in here because unfortunately the bin that I brought up is filled. There's nothing else left in it except Buddha books. I thought there were. I didn't look at it. I should have looked at it, I guess, beforehand. But there's. It's like I got more Buddha books than I ever thought I would have. So I'm going to try and look up some other stuff that has to do with ephemera, just so we can get a good glimpse on how things like that are listing and where they're listing. So even in here for motorcycles, there's motorcycle manuals, and I happen to be on the thing for Harley, and there's 76 Harley booklets that are up there. When you want to look up something like postcards, and this is, I wish I had more patience with postcards. I think that some people have the patience for postcards. I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm looking at like Harley Davidson Motors postcards. 11 million. Look at that. 11 million plus postcards are listed right now live on eBay. And here's the thing that I'm always looking for. So I tell you, I try not to do too much now with them. I did buy a few for years and years. This is what so I look in here and I try to find what is it that is making a postcard valuable. Like, what are the valuable postcards? And this is what I try to take a look at and see. Now, obviously, there's 100,000 postcards, but I want to see if I can find certain things. So, obviously, these are sports. Go sports. This is just what? This doesn't even make any sense. This one, sorry, I got to take a look at this. 1866 Wizards. Albus Dumbledore is not a wizard. So what the heck is that? Oh, all proceeds to a charity. I don't have any clue about what that is. This is that I was going to say that doesn't make any sense whatsoever to spend that much money on that. So let's not look at that. Let's look at some things that are actually, we'll take our pricing down to $400 and see what happens there. Still 590,000. But let's actually go over to the side. And again, I'm not sure if a lot of you look at this sort of thing, but you can put minimums and maximums in. And I do this all the time. So I can actually look at just postcards that have sold between $100 and $400. So this is Chuck E. Cheese postcards on the edge. A lot of postcard lots, but it's an interesting thing to sometimes flip through them. Autograph cards, Oriental Arms. So this is why I just try and stay away from them. If I found a batch of postcards, and it wasn't going to cost me a lot, I'd probably be okay. But a lot of the times what I see now is everybody's going like, here are postcards at estate sales, and it's $1 or $2 each. And I don't have the time. And whenever I've tried lately to go, I would like to take this box of postcards and give you $20, they go, oh no. Like I've actually had them saying, oh God, no, those are $1 a piece. And let me count them. I'm like, if you're going to count them, I'm not going to buy them, because I'm not sitting here on the second day of your sale going to say, I'm going to spend time waiting for you to count 500 plus cards to tell me that you're going to sell them to me for $500, but you give them to me for $300. No, you want $20 and I'll take it with me right now. Stickers, that's another real good. Love stickers. Got some Real Monster stickers last week. $10 a sheet. Not quite ephemera, but qualifies as flats. 1930s negatives on Etsy. Lots of 10 for $12. You just never know what will sell. And yes, Susan, that is probably one of the biggest things. And again, a lot of the stuff that's in the flat side of things, or I think with us, one of the things we're realizing a lot more now is that the world that we're in is a different kind of world. There's a lot more resellers out there. There's a lot more people asking for ridiculous prices. But the challenge we have is when we sell things, some of them seem so random that it's like, I don't understand why this $100 screaming spider sold that had been sitting there for 9 months, and yet it sold last week for me. What made somebody decide they wanted to spend that kind of money? I had little hair clips from some dolls that I was selling for $25 for 3 or 4 clips. And we sold probably $200 worth of hair clips for dolls. But I put other things on there like vintage Pokemon stickers, and I can't sell them for the life of me. So what I've also found is, strangely enough, I might not be able to sell them, but you might be able to sell them, or you might be able to sell them. And part of that could be how search works, the venues you're trying to sell stuff in. Again, we're cross-listing more and more stuff. We started cross-list magic, using it now on Poshmark. So we're moving stuff from eBay to Etsy. We're moving it over to Poshmark. Yeah, you have to kind of wait for those to be on. I had them on Etsy for the longest time. I might even still have them on Etsy for all I know. And I can't sell one. Let me just check and see my listings on Etsy and see if they're there. Pokemon. Yeah, so this is my eBay, and I don't even have it favored. I have 0 sales on this. This is just to show you. Pokemon vintage. It's 20 Pokemon characters, all brand new, and they were $1.49 in 1999. You get all of these characters, and yet I can't even get $15 for them. So it's less than $1 each. And again, I don't know why. It's one of those things that I've also seen people selling individual stickers for $2 and $3. But that's just not something we really want to do. There's a part of me that says, God bless those of you who do this. But the amount of people I see selling stuff for $1 and $2 on Etsy and eBay and whatnot and things like that, it's just, I don't know how much time and effort you're putting into them to actually get the time and money paid to you to get out of them. So that's one of the big things that we're doing. And paper is a perfect example. We're trying to look at things saying, put these together and do something bigger with them and get rid of them, versus trying to sell something singly and hold on to 1, 2. We have a few of those things, not paper, but obviously our, what do I call it? The Harley, or the Doc Martin shoelaces. They sell pretty constantly, but it's like $9, $9. Yeah, I only paid a nickel for them. So it's great, but I rather get 30 and 40 and 50. So I'd rather put more money in for something like that. Lisa said she sold a CD yesterday for $3.79, and you have 12 more copies. Yeah. Viewmaster reels. That's something that, again, I've sold individual Viewmaster reels quite well, but I've also had trouble selling Viewmaster reels. So I've got like one Viewmaster reel that has been on for 3 years, and I haven't sold it, and I've sold all my other ones. So that's the thing. It's easier, I think, in some cases, to look at something that you've got and go, how do I make the money on this? And how much time and effort do I want to put in on this? We've got some things that just see if I can show you. When you're looking up ephemera, part of the challenge when you look up like paper or ephemera on Etsy, you get a lot of people who are doing their own versions of something. So that's a challenge when you look at that as a marketplace. In my opinion, ephemera, and a lot of people doing digital ephemera, which I guess is for scrapbooking and things along those lines. But here is Etsy has 1,000+ results in ephemera, and like scrapbook kit, $56. So people are putting things together like an ephemera, it's a true ephemera package, 25 pieces for $18. Mixed ephemera lots, letterhead, $4. So I just can't. This is the kind of thing I can't see doing. An entire batch of something like this to sell 5 pieces, and this is actually a bit misleading for me, to sell 5 pieces, because that looks like you're getting all of that. Select an option, 5 pieces for $4.39. So you don't know what you're getting. You're just going to get 5 pieces from this picture. I wouldn't buy from that. As soon as Lisa said it, he sold a CD. Oh, that's a nice thing. I'm trying to see what other paper that I have over here. One of the other things that I've talked about, and this is just I've talked about a little bit about this before, but it's still one of my favorite things of paper that I have. And I'm going to start selling these actually, is my TV show tickets. So you can see there's one thing here and there's one thing over here. And they are for the complimentary tickets that you had to get when you wanted to go and see the delightful new comedy Ms. Winslow and Sons back in 1978 at CBS. Now, this is what I like about these things. This is some shows I don't know. The younger people will not remember these. Red Fox Show, 1977. Ted Knight Show, a new situation comedy. Angie. The grass is always greener over the septic tank. I read that book, actually. I remember reading that book. That's My Mama with Clifton Davis. The Tim Conway Show. This Better Be It. Well, I don't think it was it. Richard Castellano, starring in Joe and I love these things. Have Gun Will Travel. I don't even know what this is. This is just like a piece of paper for that. Susan Anton with guest stars. So I have a whole ton of these that I was collecting over the years, and I used to actually flip them back and forth inside these. This one actually happens to be sitcoms, so Newhart Show, Sonny and Cher. But again, as you get older, I don't know how many people are going to know about these things anymore. I don't know how many people are going to recognize that there was the Bob Newhart Show, other than the fact that he just passed. Or how many people are going to recognize over there. I've got things like the Mike Douglas Show, which was a talk show that I watched religiously. John Davidson, Dinah Shore, Joan Rivers. Only challenge I got is just coloring a little bit because they've been outside of the thing for a little while. So, but it is fun to look at paper and things like that because it is easy for you to ship. What we have a tendency to try and do is we actually take the shipping. Yeah, this is the Brady Bunch in concert, live in concert. I bought this myself. I think I might have paid $20 for it just because I had to have it. I saw the Brady Bunch Kids live in concert. I didn't see the Brady Bunch Kids live in concert. I wished I'd seen the Brady Bunch Kids live in concert. But I didn't. But I can sing the Brady Bunch songs. I know that's not what you want me to do. Us old people remember. You are the oldest person here. But not in your heart, Heather. You're not the oldest in your heart. I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say that. Oh, shipping and packing when you're doing stuff like this. One of the things that we like to try and make sure is we often actually see sometimes just coming in is the way people actually do their shipping. And it's not necessarily the greatest way to do is we'll see people who throw paper literally just into a flat paper envelope. So we always use cardboard around anything, especially if it's going over usually $10. We will wrap. So if I sold one of these tickets that are up here, even though they're small, I will actually, Rick will make a folded, harder cardboard envelope for it, and then put that inside an actual bubble envelope. If it's actually really expensive, like $10, not $10, but $40, $50, $60 or more, I actually even look at boxing things like that. So I have sent tickets like this, and I've sent them in a 4x6 box because somebody pays $49 for a piece of paper. They do not want it to be, heavy card, rigid mailers from eBay and Staples, yes. And was this the original Jan or the fake Jan? That was the original Jan. When they did that in concert live, it was the original Jan. Have a original streetcar named Desire program with ticket stubs and no interest, starring Brando and Jessica Tandy. Yeah, I actually found downstairs a stack of 20 or 30 vintage playbills from the 1950s, late 50s and early 60s. And again, the interesting thing, let me see if I can show you this one, because this is where it drives me crazy when you're looking at something like this. So I'm going to show you. I looked up this. This is one thing I found, playbill for Gypsy. And it was starring Merman, Ethel Merman. So this was the very first, I gotta clear all this. This was the very first, but not even the very first thing of Gypsy. But take a look at this. This is what drives me crazy. So there's 39 of these. There's somebody who, this is the one I have, this exact one right here. Somebody has this. I've got it, the one at the Imperial Theater. So it's this theater that's right there. It looks exactly like this, exact same cover. They've got it at $72. Then let's look down and see what else. They've got it, including copies of the tickets, for $44. They've got it for $39. They've got it for $29. They've got it for less. They've got it for $16. They've got it for $10. This is one of the biggest challenges that I have found, especially when you're looking at paper, is when you're trying to compare that and you all have the exact same thing and you're seeing numbers that are so far apart. I think I actually may have the playbill from Camelot on Broadway. So it's really strange to see these kind of things and then try to figure out. In this case, I was going, oh, well, I should try and sell it for $30, $40. And that's like, no, not if it's selling for 10. And here's our solds: 29, 19, 14, and 10. So I could put this up for $10. This is the last 90 days too. But I still doesn't guarantee I'm going to sell it, because there are other ones out there that are still at $9. But this is August 14th, that sold. July 8th, that sold. And that didn't even sell for 10. That sold for best offer. And some of these have free shipping. So again, it's one of the bigger challenges when you're working to try and figure out stuff, especially with paper, is you may find an awful lot of them. So you need to start thinking as well about what's your sweet spot for where they're going to go. Not that many different. There's the Imperial Broadway and the Imperial Theater and the Broadway Theater. And the Imperial, it was strangely enough, it was actually at the Broadway Theater before it was at the Imperial Theater. But people are buying the ones that say the Imperial Theater for more money. I don't know why. So it's just a weird thing. Again, there's 10 of those that have sold in the past 90 days and 39 of them listed. So I'm like, I guess it's a sale, but do I want to spend $10 on it? So I'm probably going to take those and list them into a bunch of different things. Try using a grading system. Well, that's actually the other thing that we're just starting to investigate now. And luckily, I did open one box and I found, see if I can find this. I found my Marvel comic. I was looking for this. I wondered what happened to this thing. I found my Kiss comic. I found this Kiss comic book. #1, printed in real Kiss blood. But take a look at this. I go to solds. These are solds right now on this. This is hard to find. These are graded issues. Look how much these graded issues went for. $1,600, $2,000. Ungraded, $500. $300. I think I sold I had two. I sold one for like $100. So this is actually something that you need to start thinking about as well, is if you have some things, trading cards, especially comic books, is it worth your while to actually get something graded? Like in this case, so this is a 9.2 graded book for $500, 9.4 graded book for $565, 9.8 graded book for $6,000, and then one for $2,200, and then another 9.6, $69. So I have a book that's probably worth between $300 to $1,500, and I got to figure out what to do with that. So what I'm doing with that is I'm actually going to be taking them to a comic book store who has a grader that they work with. And same with some of my trading cards. I do a really quick Google search on them, or a really quick look to list something like that. Go look at this. I'm going to look quickly at Marvel Comics and then see what it is that I should maybe take a deeper dive in. With those Buddhist books, I'm probably just going to try and look at a couple of them and see what I can do. And then if I spend an hour and I find that all I'm finding is $4 things, then I'm not going to spend any more time on it. That's just the way that it's going to be. Yes, it is a very weird grade. I know it's true. Buffy trading cards. At least has her uncle's comic collection. It's so expensive to get them graded. But yeah, well, that's just it. But it's expensive to get comics graded. But in many cases, people will pay 4 to 5 to 10 times as much for a graded comic. I don't understand it because I want to read them. I want to have them stuck in a piece of plastic, but you never know. One person's collectabilities or something else. And this past weekend, we were at Fan Expo a few times, thanks to eBay. It was really fun. The amount of things in there, when people say people don't have any money, I saw people spending $1,000 on swords at a sword booth. And there were so many people at this sword booth. And there were like 20 sword booths. And hundreds of thousands of Funko Pops, hundreds of thousands of comics, and people literally spending like I think the entire 4 days just at one searching for comic book after comic book and bringing them in to get graded and things along the swords like anime kind of thing, but swords like big long metal swords, like they're huge with people who do cosplay and things like that, and I guess with murderers. I don't know. So there is money out there. Maybe there's money in maybe there's money in that Buddha book that I didn't know I had, or all those Buddha books that I didn't know I had. Sorry, I didn't have much more things to look at. I honestly thought it was a whole bunch of Buddha books. I didn't think I'd have like 100 Buddha books. I thought it was a whole bunch of different things. But that's what happens when you have box after box after box of this. So keep your eyes open, though, for those. Keep your eyes open when you go to thrift stores. Sometimes you'll find baggies that have paper in them. Stickers are really good. So thrift stores are good for things like stickers, if you can find Sandyland stickers. For playing cards, a lot of those, keep your eyes open on those. The licensed ones can go for really good money in some cases. Comic books are usually in there. Magazines you can find some old magazines. So you can find paper in thrift stores, not a ton of it. But when you go to estate sales, check out those drawers because you can find paper in those. When you go to flea markets, I think I bought like a tub of that. When you go to church bazaars and things like that, that's where I must have got all these Buddha books because I wouldn't have bought them anyway. I don't know why I bought them. I have no idea what I paid for them either. Probably wouldn't have been much because I wouldn't have known what they were. So I wouldn't have said, hey, here, take $100 from me for something I know nothing about. So keep your eyes open for those kind of things. Keep in mind that paper's flat. It's easy to store. Keep it organized. If you can, do one of the things we do, which I didn't show you, which is we've gone and through a lot of cases, Amazon, buy comic book backers and comic book bags. You can buy them in comic book size, magazine size, Life magazine size. You can get 4 or 5 different sizes of magazines with these cardboard backers. It's worth the extra 30 or 40 cents for you to keep them organized, to keep them clean, to keep them from bending or anything like that. So that's what we have downstairs. We have a lot of these bags that are just filled. And actually, we went through one of them and I found things that weren't listed in that. So we're going to be doing that some more as we get into September. It's going to be what have we had that we realize didn't get listed. There's several different comic bags you can get. So there's Golden Age and regular comic bags. So we buy them from Amazon. We get our baggies there. They're so easy and they're so fast and they're so cheap. That's the best place for us to go through it. They're all but again, I don't only use them for, that's what I'm saying. I don't use them just for comic books. I use them for everything. So for example, if I decided that I was going to sell this on Training Group Leaders, I will slide this into a comic book bag so that I can keep it in a good organized order. So they're not I'm not searching through stuff like this in a box. I'm searching through something I can flip through very easily that is organized that way. So we do that again that's why we have Life magazine size, oversized magazine size, Golden Age size, and regular comic books, the older one. Happy birthday to Jennifer. Oh, happy birthday to Jennifer. Happy birthday to Heather. Happy birthday to Heather. I hope you learned a little bit. Thanks so much for joining us here, and we'll see you next week. We're not sure whether we're going to be here next week, whether we're going to be at Brimfield next week, or what's going to go on. So we'll have our notice as to what we're going to be doing, but we might be going to Brimfield. So we might be doing our show from Brimfield. Otherwise, we're going to be digging through a bunch of this stuff. And I'm going to spend the next couple of hours searching Buddha books. Who knew? Thanks so much for joining us. Special thanks to all of you who joined us here in the Kennel Club who support us all the time. We really thank you. See you in the craft group as well. Make sure you put some notes in there, and everybody who watches it afterward, thanks again for watching us here. Sorry we didn't have more. I'll find some more flats in the fall to look for, and I'll make sure they're not Buddha books. I promise. I promise. I swear. Rick could have helped me, but he wasn't. He was busy packing or napping or packing with and napping together. Thanks, everyone. Happy Tuesday.